Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I apologize for starting a couple of minutes late here. In this webinar today, we're going to be talking about some of the features when it comes to product management for working in the Helcim system. So my name is Aaron. I am a platform specialist here with the Helcim team. I'm part of the Guru team, so we offer support to all of our merchants as well as sales. And I've been with Helcim right about 4 or 5 years. 5-year anniversary is coming up in April. Really proud of that. When it comes to products, one of the keys to operating a successful business can be the management of the products and services that you sell. With the Helcim system, we have the options and features that will help you manage your products efficiently and effectively with no additional software modules or costs, as it's all part of your Helcim account. So today for products, we're going to be discussing creating products. And if we have time, we're going to be talking about managing our inventory and reporting on our inventory. If we don't make it in this time today, please feel free to give us your feedback and we would be happy to do a part 2. It all depends on the time we've got allotted here. So let's get started. So for creating products, it's included with every Helcim account. It's simple and easy to enter in your products, as you're going to see here in our webinar today. And products themselves, they're used for invoicing, payment pages, invoices again, sorry for the mistake there. We've got a point of sale system for our retail merchants, and we've got our online store, which is going to come into play for a lot of the things that we're going to do today. So when we're talking about products, there's multiple facets of creating products in the Helcim system. So let's begin with the structure and the workload or workflow for it. For creating products, a great example would be a sport clothing company, like a big sports company like Nike or Adidas. We know that Nike is the brand, but they also have many categories and subcategories. So with the brand, see Nike as our example, they've got different categories like hockey, and baseball, and basketball, etc. And then with that, you've got subcategories underneath that. So categories and then subcategories. So subcategories might be like equipment, or they could be clothing, or they could be accessories. So we've got to keep that in mind. In the Helcim system, our workflow and the structure is really similar to a major sport brand like that. So first you have the brand, then you have the categories and subcategories, and then the products themselves. If you've been tuning in with our last couple of webinars, you might be familiar with the Helcim Burger Shop, which we're going to show here in a second. So if you've been tuning into the last couple of webinars, you may be familiar with our store here. So we're going to continue talking about that in just a sec. So with products, we're going to get logged into our Helcim account, and then we are going to click on products. With our burger shop, we're looking to add a little bit of sweetness to the menu to go along with all of our savory flavors that we've got. So with our webinar today, we're going to be adding an all new brand, a new category, and products that are dedicated to our desserts. So first off, we're going to start by creating a new brand. So like we said, when it comes to the products, a great way to start is with your brand. So just to show that flow again. And bear with me, you guys. Okay, so at the brand screen, we can see any existing brands and their statuses. We can see here the name of the brand, the availability, and online and retail and feature there. Those are also part of the availabilities, and we're going to talk about those in just a moment. To edit any of these brands, you would click on a brand and you would see the options there. So let's create a new brand. So we click on Add Brand, and first we're going to enter in our brand name. So we've got the Helcim Bakehouse that has been cooking up all these delights that we're going to have here today. So we enter in our name, and now we've got a toggle for availability. Once we turn that toggle on, we see 3 additional options here. So we've got availability online, availability retail, and then we've got featured online. So our first availability is just availability. That's essentially for the brand itself to be active. Availability online, that means the brand is available in our online store and also in our payment pages. We've next got availability for retail, which means it's available in our point of sale system. And featured, that means that in our online store, it will be right up front and center for our customers to see right at our homepage. Now with these availability options, they're going to appear in categories as well as products as we create those. So it's good to get familiar with them right away here. So next, we're going to choose our availability options. We're going to choose available online, and then we can enter in a quick description. And below here, we've got SEO information. SEO stands for search engine optimization. So you can enter in a URL that you would refer to. So say, for example, we could use the burger shop itself. We could refer to a URL for the Helcim Bakehouse if it had its own individual website. We can enter in a description that will work for SEO search engine optimization, so search engine searches. And then SEO tags are tags that can be added, and those also help contribute to getting clicks from searches. Once we've got all that info in place, we go ahead and we click on Save. And now we see a couple of additional options. So first things first, we've got images. So we can add an image for our brand. Now, one of the nice things with the Helcim system, and I would encourage you guys to do this, is to have a folder on your computer that's full of the images that you're going to work with when it comes to entering in your products, your brands, your categories, etc. And then you can just easily quickly drag and drop them in. But also we've got click to upload here. And if we click on that, we can go to our desktop where I've got my files for today. And we've got our brand for the Helcim Bakehouse here. We're going to click on open, and here we've added our image for the brand. Now, if we click on products under brand, we don't have any products that we've created as per this brand yet. So of course it is empty. So creating a brand is nice and simple. So now that we've got our brand in place, if we head, we're going to head next to categories, and we're going to create a category. Once we've got all these items in place, our brand, our category, and our product, we're going to show you them in our online store just to show it to you in action. So let's go ahead and create a category next. So if we click on categories under products, we see any existing categories that we might have in place. And then we also have the option for subcategories here too. And subcategories are indicated by our arrow here as well. Now, if you wanted to quickly add a subcategory to a parent category, you can just quickly click on add subcategory and it will add a sub to it. You can also add subcategories of subcategories. So try going down that rabbit hole. You can really define and separate your products to your choosing, of course. If you ever need to delete a category, we've got our trash can icon here. And we do have the option to reorder these categories here. So let's create a new category. So we're going to do that by clicking on Add Category. So in the new category screen, we have a drop down for parent category. So see, if we were creating a subcategory, we can add a product right to it here. But we're going to make this a parent category right from the start here. So we're going to enter in our category name. So we're going to put in desserts. I need to stop using the Helcim Burger Shop because it makes me hungry every time that I do one of these webinars. Next, we've got our availability here. So we're going to turn on our availability options. So it's just like what we saw with the brands. We can enter in a quick description here, or make it as thorough as you would like. In our text editor, of course, we do have the option to modify our text a little bit by making it bold or italic or using underlines. We can make numbered lists and unordered lists, so say bullet points. We can add hyperlinks in there. And if you need to get rid of any formatting that you put in, we've got a clear formatting button there. If we scroll down a little bit further, we see that same SEO information that we put in place on the brand, and we have the option to put it in place. So now let's go ahead and click Save. So very similar to what we saw with creating a brand, we now have some additional options that have appeared for us. So let's look into each of those options. We've got images to start with. So we can add an image for the category that would display in our online store. So I'm going to add this and we'll see it in action in a moment. Now, if we ever do need to remove an image, we're going to have our trash can icon pop up here in a moment once we've been confirmed. Next, we've got the subcategory section. So if we happen to have had any subcategories, it would be displayed here. Next, we've got attributes. So when it comes to attributes, we're creating an attribute that can be used in the online store to help refine the products in a specific category. So for desserts, we're going to use dessert type here as our value, as our option, I should say. And when we create our products, we then assign a value to the attribute. So let's put in dessert type here. We're going to click Add. And we see it displayed here. Like I said, when we create our product, we're going to see where we assign that attribute. Our next option that we've got on the side here is add-ons. So it's very similar to attributes as we create it on the category level, but we assign its value when we are creating our product. So when we're talking about add-ons, I would say a good way to relate add-ons would be like when you're ordering a pizza. So you select your pizza, but what if you want some extra toppings or extra cheese? So those would be an add-on on top of your product. Not to let the cat out of the bag, but we're going to be adding cookies as our product here. So let's create an add-on here for extra cookies, milk and chocolate milk. So to get this started, we click on More Add-ons. So adding another 2 cookies. We're going to put in a default price. And to add more, we're going to click More Add-ons. Once we've got all of our add-ons in place, we go ahead and we click on Save. So now our add-ons are there in the category level. And as mentioned, when you create a product, that's when the add-ons will essentially be selected and refined for the product itself. Next, we've got products under category. So we haven't added any products to this category yet, so we won't see any of those here today, at least yet. And last but not least, we have advanced options. What we see here, we've got color placeholder and update color of sub products. So the color placeholder would be used in our point of sale system. If there doesn't happen to be an image attached to the product, what it will display is the color that we've got there. And for any sub products that are within the category, if they don't have images as well, you would click on that toggle and then it would show that color for each of the products. So now that we've got our category set up, let's now go ahead and talk about products, the products themselves. So if we click on product list on the left side here under products, we'll be taken to the product list where we'll see any existing products. And here it shows a thumbnail of the product, of the image, the name of it, the SKU, the stock count, the price that we've got set, a sale price if there happens to be one, and then its availability. We also have our pane icon in the top right here, which if we click on it, we can also add or remove any additional fields that we would like. So for example, if we turn on category, we see categories here. If we turn on our brand, it will display the brand for us, et cetera, et cetera. So add features, you can add and remove any of these columns that you choose. And you also have the option to sort them by clicking on the arrows here next to each of these particular columns. We also have a new option that we just very recently added where we've got the check boxes beside each of our products, and we've also got a check all box here. And we have this new button here, change availability. So if you click on that, you'll see on and off. So this is a quick way to change the overall availability for one or many products with just a couple of clicks. Now, one thing to note as well, for each of the pages for products, it will show 25 at a time. We've only got 15 products in here at the moment, and you would click next to navigate the different pages of your products. So now with that out of the way, let's click on add new product and let's create our new product. So first, we're going to enter in our name here. So Helcim cookies. Next, we're going to select the category. So we're going to go with desserts. We just created that one here. And now we've got a brand to work with as well. So we've got the Helcim Bakehouse that we just created. So it's good practice to get brands and categories in place when you're creating your products. So it all just kind of leads into each other. Next, we're going to enter in a SKU. And we also have barcode here. So with our point of sale system, we do have the capability and support for a Bluetooth barcode scanner that works on mobile devices like tablets and phones. And to use that, you would require a UPC barcode number to enter into the field. So when you scan it with the scanner, it would retrieve the product. So if you've got a barcode scanner that you're using, you can enter in the barcode there. Next, we've got our pricing information. So we're going to go ahead and enter in a price here. And if you have a sale price, you can go ahead and enter that in here. If you leave it blank, it will enter in the original price by default. I'm just going to enter it in here ahead of time. We also have availability here, just like we saw with brands and categories. So I'm going to turn that on for each of these. And now, just like we saw previously as well, we've got a description that we can enter in for our product. Bear with me, guys, while I'm typing away here. Okay, so once we've got our description in place, we can go ahead and click on save. And now we see some additional options pop up again on the right-hand side for us. So let's begin with images. So just like we saw previously, we're going to upload an image. And with images, you can add as many as you like. For add-ons, here is where we're going to assign the add-on to the product that we created at the category level. So if we want to make it available or leave it as off, we can definitely feel free to do so. And also we can adjust the pricing in here too, to set a specific price on an add-on for specific products. So if you have the default price, you can adjust that default price here. So we've also got a max per product here. Sorry, I'm just clicking the toggle here to make these all available. So we've got a max per product here. I would say pizza, again, is a really good example for talking about add-ons. So if you wanted to order extra cheese, you can only order so much extra cheese before it just turns into a pile of cheesy gooiness with a pizza buried at the bottom instead of a pizza. So you might want to limit it to one or two. So say, for example, for our cookies here, we're going to enter in 1 for the maximum for the extras. And then for our chocolate milk and our milk here, we're going to enter in, actually, let's do 2. I do like some milk. So once you've got those options in place, if you want to adjust the pricing here, you're welcome to do so as well. So maybe we'll have extra cookies as 2 1/4. Our milk will be $1.50. So once we've got that all in place, we go ahead and click save. Next, let's talk about inventory management. So if we click on inventory management, here is where we can adjust our inventory manually by adjusting the inventory count here. So let's adjust that to 25 and we'll click save. And then our inventory log will show any adjustments that we made to the inventory. So here it notes that we just added 24 manually by the user. So say, for example, yourself or your staff. Next, we've got attributes. So just like we saw with add-ons being created at the category level, now we have our attributes here as well. So for dessert type, we're going to put in baked goods. And we're going to click save. Now we have reviews here as our next option, and we are currently working on revising the reviews aspect of our online store. So keep an eye out on that in the future. Currently, it is not an option that's available. Next, we have advanced options. So here we see the color placeholder that's really similar to what we saw when we were looking at categories. So if there isn't an image there, it will show the color instead. We have tax exemption. So if you want to have the product set up for a different taxing, so you can set up it no tax exemption, so it will be taxable. You can have it tax exempted, period. And then you can have exemptions from provincial or state taxes or the country tax. So really, it's up to you and of course the product for what you want to have for your tax exemption settings. We also have shipping exemption. So if this is enabled, the item will be exempt from any shipping costs that are calculated as part of our online store. We're going to come back to variants right at the end. Next, we've got our inventory management. So we've got a toggle here to turn on inventory management. So if we're talking about having a restaurant, for many items, you could likely disable inventory tracking. So for instance, with our burger shop, we don't need to track our inventory because, fingers crossed, we would never run out. So for our cookies though, we could, if they sell out, as far as running out of inventory. So we're going to leave track inventory as enabled. But if you didn't want to track your inventory, you would toggle that switch off. Below here, we've got our low level threshold. So for our stock, if it happened to dip below 10, we have an email setting in email settings here in the Helcim account, which can shoot you off an email to let you as the merchant know that your stock is getting low and that you should reorder. We have specifications here. So there you can enter in the specifications for your product, including dimensions and weight for it. We have next level 3 data. So level 3 data is required for level 3 processing, which is for business to government processing. And then we have our SEO options again, as we'd seen earlier. And if you notice, it's taken the name, the SKU, and then the description and put it all in place. So like we mentioned earlier, we were going to save variants for last. So we're going to enable variants, and then we're going to click save. And as you can see, we have our variants option that has displayed here. So for variants, these are mandatory options when a customer is selecting a product. In our case here today, the Helcim cookie is the overall product, but we're going to have different flavors and we're going to set those as the variants. So unlike add-ons, which are created at the category level and optional when you're purchasing an item, so you don't have to get extra cheese on the pizza, variants are created at the product level and are a mandatory selection when you're purchasing the product. If we want to go back to the old pizza analogy, pizza, it would be like selecting your type of crust. So if you want thin crust or traditional or deep dish, etc., that's a mandatory selection. So it would be a variant in that case. So to create our variant options, we're going to do flavors here, as we mentioned. So let's click on variants. And here in the variants, we're going to enter in the option name, so the name of the variant. So in this case, we're going to put in flavor. And then we're going to enter in our values here. So if we click below option value, here is where we're going to enter in our items, or different flavors, I should say. So let's enter those in. So once you've got it in, you can hit enter, and then it will take us to our next variant that we're going to add. So once we've got our different option values in place, so our different variants or different flavors here, we're going to go ahead and click on add. So now here we see our saved options. So once we've got that ready to go, we're going to click on next. And here we see our product variations or variants that were created. And we've got a drop down for each of these. So with each of these drop downs, we see that we have the capability to change the dimensions of the product. So that includes the weight and the dimensions. We can also adjust the price. So if you have a specific price for a different variant, you can change that up here. You can add a stock count to it. There is a SKU that was created automatically by the system, but of course you're welcome to change that on your own. And we have where we can add a specific image for our product. So we're going to put those in place here quickly. Okay, so once we've got our images in place, of course, like we said, we can adjust those, but we're going to now click save. And now we've got our variants that are created for our product. We do have one more option here under our product, and that is advanced pricing. So we've talked previously about advanced pricing in other webinars, so we don't necessarily want to repeat ourselves today. Of course, you can go to our YouTube channel to check out our previous webinars or review our support documents at helcim.com or support.helcim.com. And of course, you can reach out to our guru team to give a hand. So we're not going to cover that right now, but as far as our advanced pricing goes, you have the capability to set up wholesale pricing. So wholesale pricing can work for wholesale products as well as wholesale customers. Then we have what we refer to as BOGO pricing. So buy a number of a product and get another one free. And then we have ranged pricing, which is price by quantity ranges. So say, for example, buy 5, get a certain price, buy 10, get another price, et cetera, et cetera. So we've got those available. Please feel free to check those out and reach out to us if you have any questions. So once we've got all of our items in place, we've got our brand, we've got our category, we've got our products. Let's show you how it ties together in our online store. So if we head back to our online store, I'm just going to give it a quick refresh after we've changed a bunch of documents. Here are different options in there. If we head to our catalog, we are going to see our brand here. And we have our desserts category. So let's go ahead and click on desserts here. So we have our one category, or sorry, our one product that's under our category. Of course, we can add more, as many as we choose. And here's that attribute that we talked about as well. So if we click on our product, we see the different images. And then if we click on our options here, we can see our variants that we created. So our different flavors, you would select whichever one that you wanted. And then we've got our add-ons here as well. So if we wanted the extra cookies, if we wanted to order milk or chocolate milk, we do have it available. And with our online store, we have the capability to add notes and special instructions to any product that's purchased. Now, the last thing to mention about availability, we made our cookies here as a featured item. So if we scroll down, we see all of our products that we're set as featured, and we have our cookies right there. I should stop doing these around dinner time. I'm getting pretty hungry. So that's for creating products. Now, we do have the capability to create collections of products. Rather than creating a new one, I'm going to show you guys just what they look like. So for example, we have created a collection handpicked by our gurus with a series of specific products. So here's our collection with these specific products. And if we head back to our online store, we see our collections here. And if we click on our collection, we see the products that we put as part of it. So collections are another great way to group together some products if you want to sell them in a different fashion. So fashion is the word to think of. So think of a spring collection or a fall collection for any products, and you can just kind of group them together and lead your customers to it to help do some additional sales for that. We are getting a little bit short on time, but I do want to show you guys some additional things when it comes to management of the products themselves. You do have the capability to import products via QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online. We do have an integration with QuickBooks Online. Most commonly, we do it with CSVs. Of course, Google Sheets is a free software offered by Google. Many people have Microsoft Excel or the various different spreadsheet softwares that are out there. So essentially, we've got a CSV that you can download, a sample file, which you can work with. And pardon me, guys, just on my other screen here, I'm just getting this queued up. So here with our sample spreadsheet, what you can do is quickly or en masse enter in a bunch of products and then upload it into our system. So you would enter in the category, the brand, the name, the SKU, et cetera, et cetera. As far as mandatory things go, you want to make sure that you have a SKU and a price put in there. I would also suggest that you change your availability options as well. So those are in here. And one thing, then once you've completed that, you can upload it into our system. Now, a couple of things just to note as far as some handy tricks when it comes to uploading CSVs. The first thing to say is that you can only upload 999 at a time. So we've got a max of 1,000 that you can import at once. And trust me, we've had people try to do 10,000 at a time, and we've got to get them to split it up. So keep that in mind. And another thing to note, it's kind of an Excel or a CSV type of issue, but you have to ensure that you've got all of the data that's in here formatted as plain text. So this varies. Excel and Sheets do kind of wacky things when it comes to data that's in spreadsheets. So you want to make sure that it's set as plain text, and then you can easily update it or upload it, I should say. If it's set as numbers or currency, it's going to cause it to fail. It has to be set as straight numbers. So we work with CSVs rather than Excel files. So keep that in mind. We also have the capability to upload variants, so import variants. I have to note when it comes to variants, a variant has to exist under a product before you can upload any variants and adjust them. So keep that in mind. And next we've got inventory. So rather than going in and manually adjusting your inventory for all of your products in the system, which can be a bit tedious, what you can do is do an export of your inventory, export it to a CSV, adjust all of your item totals, so your stock counts, and then upload that CSV into the system. So it's an easier way to do it as a whole than running into and changing it individually for each product, which of course could be quite time consuming. So the CSVs are a really nice and easy way to kind of speed up your workflow for that. So we do have one last section here for our products. We've got inventory management. This is currently being updated, but currently it shows a low inventory list. So I've got some low items here as far as my inventory goes. And what you can do is click on each item, and you would be able to adjust the inventory here for each of them. So with that, we've kind of hit the end of the road today. So I'm glad that we did happen to have enough time to get through our whole presentation here. So let's open things up to QA, and feel free, guys and gals, to put anything in the chat here. We're just monitoring that as well. So go ahead and shoot with any questions. I would be happy to answer them for you. I'm just going to let that go for a moment here. If anybody wants to shoot any questions, please feel free. Okay. So I see one here from Danny, and Danny is in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. For the products, is there a maximum number of products that can be entered into the system? Thank you for your question, Danny. Thank you for tuning in. Currently, there is not a maximum for the products that you can enter. So feel free to put in as many as you like. Just remember, if you're doing it via spreadsheet, that you can upload 999 at a time. So 1,000 is your max at once. And of course, you can just repeatedly do it. So thank you for your question, Danny. Thanks for tuning in. I see another question has popped up here, and it is from Hannah, and Hannah is located in Birmingham. So Hannah says, we've seen the online store quite a bit here. How is that created, and is there any additional costs? Thank you very much, Hannah, for your question. With the online store, it is a free option with your account. What I would suggest is head over to the Helcim YouTube channel where you can see tutorial videos and our last couple of webinars that covered the online store. And of course, you can reach out to our guru team anytime for assistance or questions that you may have, and we would be glad to help. Okay, we have a question from Angela. Angela, thank you for joining us today. So Angela's asking, on the CSV data sheet, where does the cost go when it's uploaded into the system? That is a good question. I'm just going to bring up our CSV here again. So cost is an advanced option. Bear with me just on my other screen here. I am getting our spreadsheet up again. So just going to bring that over. Okay, so we do have a cost column that's part of it as well. So you can enter in the cost right there as you're uploading it. So there you go, Angela. You would just enter it in as far as the spreadsheet goes, and you can enter it in. As far as if you were doing it manually, let me show you. I'm just going to switch back to that screen. So if we went to advanced pricing on one of our products, if we enable wholesale pricing and then click save, we see cost pop up. So that's currently where the value for the cost is placed when you're editing it. So if you uploaded that spreadsheet, it would pop up there as far as the wholesale pricing, but that's where you enter it when you're doing it manually. So thank you very much for your question, Angela, much appreciated. So we've got a question from Marie here. Thanks for your question, Marie. Marie is asking, can you add a variant without having to change the whole list of them? Is there another way to add things to the collection without having to do them one at a time? So let me answer the second part first. So let's quickly create a collection here just so you can kind of see it in action, Marie. So if we add a collection, we're going to just adjust our availability here, and we're going to click save. So once you've saved your collection, you go to products under collection, and then you search for the products that you've got as part of it. So you can enter in a couple of different letters, and your items will hit from the dropdown, and then you go ahead and you just add as many as you choose. So as far as adding products to the collection, it is one at a time, so to speak, but at least it's a very quick and brisk way to do it. As far as adding a variant without having to change the whole list of them, as far as variants go for editing and adjusting them, it is done from the product itself. So you have to essentially go through the process again. So you go to your product, and then we're going to head to variants. And once you click next, you're taken to the list. So at least as far as editing variants, you do have to go to the product and then change each of them from the list. Hi, Angela. Angela's coming. Sorry, Marie, I hope that answers your question for you. If not, please reach out to us. We'd be glad to help. We've got Angela here asking again, it doesn't automatically fill in the cost. You have to manually load it after turning on the wholesale option. So Angela, if something isn't going correctly, what I would suggest is shoot us an email and we can look into it. So we do have active support and active developers who are working hard to fix any sort of issues that we may encounter. It might be something that's happening that I'm not aware of. So I would be happy to look into that for you. What I would suggest is shoot an email to us at help@helcim.com. I'm just going to bring up our contact info here. Let me get this spreadsheet out of the way. So our contact info that we've got here, you can reach out to us via phone at 877-643-5246, or you can shoot us an email at help@helcim.com. You could put in the subject line webinar product cost option, and you can put attention Aaron, and I would be glad to look into that with my team, do some testing. If we find that there's an issue, we'd be happy to start digging into it and figure out if there's a problem. So if there is a problem, Angela, thank you for pointing that out. We always love to find out if something happens to be going in incorrectly, of course, and then try to fix it ASAP for you. So thank you for your question, Angela, and thank you for pointing that out. Like I said, shoot an email in and I'd be happy to dig into it for you. We've hit the end of our time. Oh, she's also putting it in. I'll answer your question here again, Angela. If you wanted to add an extra flavor to your cookies, you have to start all over. You are correct with that. I will admit, for variants, you do, if you're revising them, you do have to start from scratch with it. So I do know what you mean with that one. At least currently, that's how the workflow operates. But if you ever need any assistance, we'd be happy to help you out with that. And feedback, of course, is always something that we're always welcome to hear. So with that, I'm actually going to send that in for feedback for you. And we'll keep you updated as to when it happens to get looked at and adjusted if need be. So thank you for pointing that out. I'll leave it open for a little bit more for any additional questions. We do have another question here from AJ in Winnipeg. AJ's asking, what's the next step if they want to get set up with Helcim? So with that, AJ, thank you for your question. So for signing up with Helcim, you want to visit helcim.com and click on sign up. And generally, you'll be approved within 24 hours and you'll be able to start processing online right away. If you happen to be a retailer and you need some equipment as far as your processing goes, it takes a little bit of time to get a piece of like our Helcim card reader sent out to you. But it takes usually 3 to 5 more business days after that. And you can start processing in person if you choose to. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, so much. Angela, I'm actually going to shoot you an email after this is all done here. And thank you, everybody, again, for joining us today. This has been great. It's been fun. Join us next time for our next webinar that we're going to have sometime in March. And if you guys have any feedback, of course, or there's any topics that you want to see, please reach out to help@helcim.com. And I'm always open for running a webinar or a training session for anybody as well. Our team is too. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we hope to see you again next time. Have yourselves a fantastic day.